Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bedford, welcome to the Phil Paleologus Show. With updates and breaking news from the WBSM newsroom and on the WBSM app. And your calls and conversation at 508-996-0500. Here he is, New Bedford's #1 talk show host, WBSM's Morning Mayor, Phil Paleologus.
Oh, I love it when I get a good thought. This is for everyone who's not in a good mood, all right? You can either stay that way or you can go down to Sunrise Bakery. And when you get into Sunrise Bakery, I want you to do something. I want you to stand there and take 5 nice, big, deep breaths. And let the smell of the bakery put you in a good mood. Good morning, everybody. Oh, the smell of freshly baked goods. Those coffee rolls over there, it's just the way the glaze has melted over them. And how about the decorated cakes and the cupcakes and something for breakfast? And you've made so many things at home, right? And they just sit around. Go down to Sunrise Bakery and find out why they have been such a very important, integral part of our business community and also socially, how they've always given to the community whenever good charitable causes come up. Yeah, you know what? Sunrise Bakery is right there. And who knows? Maybe we can knock out some of these antidepressant drugs just by going down there and...
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
Let me quickly go over here before we have John LeBoutelier join us. Good morning and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Phil.
Hi.
Hey, you know, when I was a kid, sometimes we would make our way across the Cogswell Street Bridge down to where that donut shop is now. We take a left, and we go all the way up that road. And at the end of that road, there's like a big stone cliff that looks out over the Acushnet River. It was a very wooded area at that time. I think it's still wooded right there. And in the summertime, these people would roll in off the train, off the freight trains. They have very colorful clothing, and they would live in that area in those woods for the summertime, and then they would leave afterwards. They were called gypsies, okay?
Oh, that was before the hobos then, right?
Well, they could have been hobos. Maybe they were mixed in.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe they were time-sharing or something like that. I don't know. But the point of the matter is, I heard you issue some hate speech earlier, okay? You were talking about the loss of lottery revenues due to online betting not being available in Massachusetts for sports games or whatever it is. And you used the term that they were gypped. So the gypsies called me up and said that they were hurt.
That is one of the forbidden words.
Yeah.
That is political correctness. That is woke. That's exactly.
They actually do that? They actually talk about that, gypped?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They say it's a slight to the gypsies.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
All right.
And according to woke ideology, hateful speech is whatever I say it is. Doesn't matter the dictionary definition.
There you go. Great to hear from you, by the way.
Have a good day, Phil. Yeah, bye.
Get me a couple of glazed before you go. All right? 2 glazed, please. Hello there. Good morning and welcome.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. Hi.
Well, just came from dropping my kid off at the school over here, and had a bunch of kids out here freezing, and they're telling them they can't come in until 8:10. That got to get changed. You got a bunch of kids out here shivering, and the teachers are all behind the glass telling them, "Oh no, you got to wait, you got to wait." So I don't know. They got to change, Phil. They just got me upset.
I don't blame you. On the very cold mornings, yeah.
That's why I'm calling you, because you're the morning mayor. You make things happen when things go on your station.
I don't know. I think you got me confused with the good Lord up above.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app. The Bill Paleologos.
Boot, a very important recall on a product called Purely Soothing. These are eye drops. Purely Soothing eye drops, 15%. Folks, the company says that it hasn't issued a report like this ever, and that the drops are sold on Amazon, and that the drops could have contamination that could cause some very serious conditions. And blindness is one of them. So if you have Purely Soothing eye drops, chuck them. And also there's one more. It's made by Apotex, and it's called Brimonide Tartrate Ophthalmic Solution with a strength of 0.15%. That, too, could be contaminated. So either one of those, please stop using them.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term, "got your six," means I have your back. And that day, our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org, using the number 6.
This time next week, I'll be sick in bed with West Nile virus, thanks to a mosquito bite right in front of my house.
In 8 minutes, my daughter will be in an ambulance, having an asthma attack, triggered by cockroaches.
I'm going to be bitten by a tick today. I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
Phil Paleologos. He's smart and he's got style, like the all-new Ford Fusion. Take your test drive today at Wareham Ford, 1420 WBSM.
John LeBouillier is smart. You've got style, right? You should.
I don't think I have any style whatsoever. I wish I did, but I don't think I do.
You want to put a little swank into your swing, huh?
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Great to have you with us. I wanted to start.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
With Jared Schuster. I don't know if you're familiar with Jared, but he's with the Atlanta Braves. All right.
Okay.
He has been a star here ever since he was a kid in New Bedford. He went to New Bedford High, and then he went over to Tabor Academy, and then Wake Forest.
Wow.
So proud. He pitched yesterday in Fort Myers.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, you know how you have like 50 big stories, and you have to figure out which ones to put in the space that you have. It's nerve-wracking sometimes. I had that story, but I never got around to it until a caller reminded me about Jared. So we are so proud here in New Bedford for Jared Schuster. Absolutely. Ben and
Fantastic.
Lori. Ben and Lori, the parents, right there. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, so he went to Tabor Academy, which I went to Brooks, and we played Tabor in they were in our league in various sports, definitely soccer, because I can remember coming down there. And in those days, Tabor's facilities were pretty poor. And I believe I'm right, but I might be wrong. The Howard Johnson family all went to Tabor and have put up big bucks over the years to build up that campus to where it's now really great facilities for everything, including baseball field, football, sports, a gym, the whole bit, you know.
John is world class, absolutely.
There you go. And that's Howard. You know Howard Johnson, right?
I knew that they were the first to come out with those clam strips. You know, they looked like paper mache, and you'd fry them up. And
well, I'm sure it's part of it. Yeah, the Howard Johnson thing when I was growing up was these restaurants with orange roofs, and didn't they have like 40 flavors of ice cream or whatever it was, a certain number of ice cream. They also had hotels, motels.
Of course.
But they had these restaurants everywhere, and Mr. Howard Johnson himself, either he went to Tabor or he sent his kids to Tabor, and a whole bunch of them have been on the board ever since.
Interesting. Very.
So whoever's around now must be very proud of Mr. Schuster. I sure would be. God.
Oh, yeah.
To be in the major leagues is fantastic.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it really is. And everyone who's known Jared tells me the same thing. He's been this, wonderful star ever since he was a kid, and has been self-contained, meaning he doesn't go out and brag and, is one of these types. He's just a wonderful player, a wonderful human being. The son of Bennett and Laurie Schuster. Here we go.
Well, they are probably the reason, not for his athletic talent, who knows why you get that, but having his head on his shoulders properly and not being a jerk and not having an ego problem.
Right.
That's the parents. Totally. 100%.
Are they responsible also that he's a lefty?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a great advantage, though, to be a lefty in baseball, and good for him.
Our Greg is a lefty, and he's learning how to pitch now. You're right.
That's good.
Yeah, you're right. It is an advantage if you can get it down, right? It's
well, yeah, but it's the same motion. You just have to learn, and it's the best sport, most fun to play if you love it. Mm-hmm. It's great. So I hope Greg loves it. Apparently, Mr. Schuster loves it. And I can't imagine being that good to be in the major leagues in spring training, whipping it in against these teams.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, 100%, John.
So he's on the Braves. He's on the Braves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Atlanta Braves.
They got a lot. That's a great organization, and they have a lot of young pitchers working their way up. He's one of them, I guess, and isn't that great?
Yeah. He was seventh first-round draft pick at Wake Forest, and then I think something like the 25th pick on the first round with the Braves. So very, very, very steady and a good kid there. A personal question, John. There is our state editor here in Massachusetts who was once up at the State House, and there was some kind of sexual inference why this young lady was fired. All right, and so they said to her, "You have to sign this NDA, the non-disclosure things that say you can't say a word."
Yeah.
So now she's going to go and audit the people who actually are probably signatories of a lot of these contracts. She's going to go in and talk about it, even though she did sign the disclosure. She says that It's in the name of transparency. This state has been running a lot behind closed doors and, that kind of stuff. Did you have to sign anything like that or sign on to it when you were in Congress is my question,
No.
John.
No.
All right.
Never even heard of such a thing.
And are you ready
But
for this?
I know it happens. Yeah.
It is taxpayer funded. I don't know how much money is in the... Huh? This is...
Well, I mean, she was working for the government?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. And then she ran for office because of this. All right? And she said, oh, yeah, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. And she ran state rep and then state senator, and now she's the auditor of the Commonwealth. But, boy, I'll tell you what, when you go up against a strong machine, it takes a lot of courage, because... Oh,
yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah, Diane DiZoglio. So we are giving... Commonwealth Magazine, by the way, has a really good story about what she's doing and everything. But absolutely. And the taxpayers, we know nothing. We pay it out. And I just think that it's awful, terrible, that this has been going on for a long time.
Well, I think this has been going on in every state, every municipality. I think they have insurance for this stuff. So I'm not sure it's directly taxpayer money that's paying versus insurance payout. Financed, the insurance policy is bought by the taxpayers.
Yeah, maybe.
But the insurance company is paying the payout.
It could be. I don't know that.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know.
But there you go. I just wanted to know whether in Congress they have the same. No,
not when I was there. I mean, I never had anything worth non-disclosing anyway, but I never heard of it. Yeah. The world's changed, Phil. The world has changed. I mean, I was in Congress in the early 1980s, right? There was you never heard the phrase sexual harassment. I never heard of it.
Yeah, but it went on. It went on.
Of course. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the idea that there would be protections for women for something that wasn't even talked about. They didn't have them yet. Yeah, it was going on. Women were treated horribly. But there was no adjudication. There was no protection. There was none of it.
Yep.
All of this has happened in the last several decades, thank goodness, and really accelerated lately with the Me Too movement. And that's all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt about it. Wow. Quite a few stories. Which ones have attracted your attention, Mr. LeBoutelier? The kidnapping of those 4 Americans,
and the murder of two of them.
That was.
I'm not really into it. I followed it on the news, so I don't really care. I think for our audience, the Dominion lawsuit against Fox is just becoming a huge issue for Fox. And the revelations of what's been going on inside Fox and what may happen in the end of it is incredible. We're talking huge money, and we're talking about internal revolt inside Fox, where management knew what was happening with the election and yet wouldn't rein in 5 or 6 of their key hosts who kept saying the election was stolen when it wasn't. And it's going to end up costing all of them certainly a lot of money, and maybe some people their jobs.
What did you think of Tucker Carlson's passionately hating Trump? Go ahead.
Yeah, that came out yesterday when more of the appendices came out of the Dominion lawsuit.
Yeah.
And in text and emails, he's telling people privately how much he hates Trump, and most nights can get away without ever mentioning him.
Why did McConnell? Well, what his reaction to Tucker Carlson's segment was very interesting. He was condemning it, actually.
Absolutely, as were most Republican senators yesterday, the day after the first segment aired on Monday night. And yesterday, you had a ton of these senators come out in the hallway of the Senate, go up to the press and tell them they thought it was awful. Because what they don't like is they think Tucker Carlson selectively edited the videotape of January 6th to make it look like something it was not. He's trying to say it was peaceful. It was not. That these were tourists. They were not. What kind of tourist breaks windows to get into a building? That's not a tourist. What kind of tourist beats up police and sprays bear spray in the face of police officers? I mean, this is nonsense. To try to defend this, which Tucker Carlson's doing, I really think Murdoch has lost control of the people on his TV. He ought to tell them, we're moving on from January 6th. We know what happened. Enough is enough.
And, John, we got to move on, too, but we'll pick this up on Friday, okay?
Okay, Phil. Talk to you Friday.
Always
Can't
a
wait.
pleasure. Thank you, John. John LeBoutillier.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
And into the newsroom, Kate Robinson. Good morning.
Good morning. A bipartisan group of U.S. senators is pushing a bill to stop foreign governments from exploiting technology like TikTok to target Americans. Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Mark Warner said the Restrict Act would give the federal government broader authority to restrict Chinese-owned TikTok and other foreign-owned apps that may pose a threat to national security. Police fought with protesters across France on Tuesday as thousands filled the streets in anger over pension reforms ordered by President Emmanuel Macron. Mark Mayfield reports.
In the sixth day of nationwide strikes since mid-January, so-called Black Bloc anarchists in Paris rained projectiles on police, set trash bins on fire, and destroyed bus stops. 11,000 police were mobilized across the country, including 5,000 just in Paris. Millions of people are furious over Macron's move to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64, in his biggest standoff against France's trade unions since he took office in 2017. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The Biden administration is urging states to join a federal crackdown on so-called junk fees. The White House will host a virtual meeting today with hundreds of state lawmakers about reducing fees that are tacked onto everything, from credit cards to phone bills to airline tickets and more. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau Director Rohit Chopra says these fees have gotten out of hand.
Everywhere you look, it feels like there's fees tacked on for a service you never asked for or something that's charged way beyond its cost. We've looked at overdraft fees, credit card late fees, and so much more.
The administration will also release a new guide offering actions that states can take. In a statement today, the White House said actions taken by state governments will be essential to rid the U.S. economy of billions of dollars in unnecessary charges. 4 people are dead after 2 small planes collided in midair in Florida. It happened Tuesday afternoon in Winter Haven. The FAA and NTSB are investigating. A new atmospheric river is bearing down on California. It's raising the threat of flooding and structural damage as warm rain is forecast to fall on top of the state's near-record snowfall this week. Weather experts say there's a strong chance of heavy rain in areas where snow that's piled up over the past week could quickly turn into floodwaters. More video in the Tyree Nichols case could be released today. Memphis Police Chief Legal Officer Jennifer Sink announced the city's administrative investigation is complete after hearings for all those involved. Nichols died 3 days after he was beaten by police during a traffic stop in January. Oklahoma voters are saying no to a referendum that would have legalized recreational marijuana for adults. State Question 820 was defeated on Tuesday by a margin of 63 to 37%. Republican Governor Kevin Stitt says the vote was the best thing to keep kids safe. Oklahoma's medical marijuana business, meanwhile, has been booming, with about 12,000 licensed businesses and nearly 400,000 enrolled patients. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says it was a mistake for Fox News host Tucker Carlson to downplay the attack on the Capitol. More from Brian Shook.
While speaking to reporters, the Kentucky Republican said he wants to associate himself with the opinion of the Capitol Police Chief. In a memo, Chief Tom Manger said Carlson's segment was filled with offensive and misleading conclusions about the attack. Despite that, McConnell stopped short of criticizing House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for providing the Fox News host with more than 40,000 hours of security footage from January 6, 2021. Carlson released never-before-seen security video of the attack Monday night, claiming most of the rioters were peaceful. I'm Brian Shook.
Republican politicians have turned the word woke into a catch-all target for everything from political correctness to so-called cancel culture. However, a majority of Americans see woke as something positive, an awareness of social injustice. A new USA Today Ipsos poll found 56% see it that way, including 3/4 of Democrats and more than 1/3 of Republicans. And Keanu Reeves is thanking scientists for naming a fungicide after him. In a study published last month, German scientists said they recently discovered a bacteria that kills fungus, quote, like John Wick, and named it Keanumycin. This past weekend, the actor responded to the news during a Q&A event on Reddit and wrote, quote, thanks, scientist people. He also wished them good luck and added, quote, thank you for helping us. In sports, the Celtics host the Portland Trail Blazers tonight, and the Bruins take on the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow in Boston. Now for a look at your local forecast from ABC6.
We have another quiet day in store for us, with those winds continue to be a little bit heavier and breezier this morning out of the north at 10 to 20 miles an hour. But once we get into the afternoon, they do start to taper off. Temps are running about normal for this time of year. We're going to expect our highs today to be in those mid 40s. Overnight tonight, low 30s. And the next system that we're watching comes in over the weekend. From the ABC6 studios, I'm meteorologist Skylar Spindler on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
At the moment, it is 33 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Kate Robinson for WBSM News. Stay up to date with WBSM, New Bedford's News Talk Station, and get breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
This is our last minute here that we can say good morning, and it's a pleasure always being alongside you. When I come back, Senator Mark Montigny and Beacon Hill Representative Chris Markey are telling their constituents and others who've been facing this crazy, out-of-control cost upgrades to their septic systems to comply with the new state regulations, that the good news is relief could be on the way from the Healy administration. Wow. Details straight ahead.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app. The Bill Paleologus.
As we look into the future, is it wind turbines or perhaps something else? But are the wind turbines, as we know them, worthwhile? Considering everything, we can talk about that. For one thing, it is worthwhile for the local politicians, always. That's one of these economic freebies. There is a top Massachusetts Senate budget official who is calling for the company here in New Bedford, Avangrid, Avangrid. He's actually calling for Avangrid to be banned from any future bidding projects, at least in Massachusetts, if it goes through and terminates the wind contract that they had signed onto. And this was, a 20-year agreement, folks. This was big and serious. Avangrid agreed back when to the terms of this 20-year power purchase agreement. And just before it won the final regulatory approval, Avangrid steps forward and says, oops, call it off. We can't afford it. The economy was different then. We can't make a cent. In fact, we'll be behind the 8 ball if we go through with this. So we're not going to go through with it because it's just not financially good for us. And now a top Senate budget official is saying, oh, yeah, you want to act like that? We'll just ban you from ever bidding on future projects. Very interesting.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
A new drinking fad known as BORG. It stands for Blackout Rage Gallon. Isn't that a fantastic contribution, huh? It involves a gallon-sized plastic bottle and alcohol that has sent nearly 50 people to the hospital over the weekend from UMass Amherst. It was the day of the annual controversial Blarney Blowout. That has, folks, what it is the 2023 version of binge drinking.
This is the Morning Mayor. Morning Mayor. Phil Paleologos on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
When I deployed, I didn't realize that even the air I was breathing was dangerous. Since coming home, I've watched friends get sick and struggle to get the support they deserve. But now, that's finally changing. We're eligible for new VA healthcare and benefits based on when and where we served. Even though I feel okay, I'm going to apply. For my sake and for my family. Learn more and apply today. Visit va.gov/PACT.
Enjoy the sunshine. It's going to be here, there, hit and miss. And later on, there is a chance of that changing. Although today's going to be a lot like yesterday, and they say tomorrow the same. So there you go. But the best news is that State Senator Mark Montigny and Chris Markey, who have been working on this issue for quite a while, are now telling folks in Dartmouth, and they're saying that you've been facing this huge, costly upgrade that has been, shoved down their throats when, with regard to the septic systems complying, with the new regulations, and all that has been transpired within that. There's a lot of things that bother me about how the state went around making these rules and shoving them down the throats of the everyday residents. And I know all of the local news outlets, we were right on top of it. Marcus was right on top of it with Chris, the Standard Times, New Bedford Light. Everybody was a part of this. And now we're hearing reports that Mark Montigny and Chris Markey are hoping that this is going to be a carve-out, okay? That's what they're calling it. They're hoping to convince the environmental regulators, who I have a lot of questions for. They want them to create a carve-out, meaning give us the exemption here for that kind of relief. So great news there as we continue on with some of the local issues. The fatality yesterday on 140, they say, unfortunately, speed could have been a factor in that.
1420 WBSM can now be heard on 99.5 FM.
If you're shopping for a good used vehicle, then please consider Cottage Street Motors. Nothing's worse than you're running late already, you jump in the car, you turn the ignition, and, I don't know how you spell, but you know exactly what I mean when I say, now they're ready to put you, if you want a new vehicle, they can do that as well, folks. But if you want something that is reliable to get you to work and back, to, get the kids to all of their activities and back, go by Cottage Street Motors. They stand behind their sales with a 30-day warranty. I know that you'll be so very satisfied. They're at Cottage Street Motors. Sue and all of her staff are going to make sure that your next vehicle from the neighborhood dealer knows that you're going to have a great, great car when you buy them at Cottage Street Motors. All righty, so go on down there. 589 Cottage Street, New Bedford, and they are called the People Pleasers for a very, very good reason.
WBSM isn't just a broadcast. It's also a podcast. Get all of our podcasts at WBSM.com, the WBSM app, or just search WBSM on your favorite podcast provider.
All right, I'll reword it. Framing something is very important. So, would you vote to continue the 4-year mayoral term if you had a chance? Yes or no?
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
Good morning. It's great to have you with us as the FDA is warning anybody who is using Purely Soothing. That's the name of the product, Purely Soothing eye drops. Please stop. Somehow, some way, these eye drops, it seems like it's in a cycle now. Last week there was another company, and there's 55 people in 12 states that have been diagnosed with multi-drug resistant bacterial infections. So this is serious stuff, folks, and this could cause permanent vision loss. So, Purely Soothing. Please get the word out there to others. That's the name of the product made by Pharma Medica. And the other one is produced by Apotex Corporation, and it's called the Brimonide Tartrate Ophthalmic Solution with a strength of 0.15%. And that, too, has developed the possibility of the product sterility. That contamination could cause harm to anyone using those drops. So be very, very careful. It's 8:51 as we head towards 9 o'clock and sandwich time with Tim.
Take the Morning Mayor wherever you go. Download the WBSM app.
When we come back, we'll wrap things up with all of your thoughts, comments, and a look at what's going on the rest of the day here on 1420 WBSM.
14
today. What a pleasure to always be in your company. What is this? An oldie but goodie? Well, this is the way we're going to... wasn't supposed to be that one. It's supposed to be another song. Anyway, let's go to the phone lines and say good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Phil.
Hi.
Hey, did you see the Tucker Carlson broadcast?
No, I didn't.
Okay, let me urge you and all your listeners to watch it. It was Monday night and last night.
Yep.
And I'll call back tomorrow with questions for Doug Boutelier. You can ask him on Friday because it's a whole different story.
Tell me what your version.
Well, for one thing, it was engineered by the Democrats when they had one guy named Ray Epps, and he was working for the FBI. You can check it out.
Yeah.
He was there the night before urging everybody, we got to go in the Capitol. We got to go in the Capitol. And the crowd saying, no, no, no. And then somebody starts yelling, Fed, Fed, Fed. So there's that aspect. And he lied to the FBI about what time he was there. They have the timestamp when he was there, and he was calling his son saying, I engineered the whole thing. I engineered the whole thing. But that's one thing. But there's like numerous things I could tell you tomorrow.
Yeah.
That you can bring up.
So to get to the center of this, do you think this was all staged?
Yeah. The January 6th committee, so-called,
yeah,
their only aim was to get Trump.
Yeah.
So he couldn't qualify for, try to impeach him again.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
But they showed at the hearings, they showed a real short clip of Josh Hawley running out of the building, and they did it on purpose. And of course, the crowd in the audience at the hearings laughed. But like one thing that Tucker showed last night was all the senators running out. They just clipped that one piece of Hawley to make it look like he was the only one running out.
Well, I don't doubt that the networks use this to their advantage. They always do. That's not surprising. What I found really troubling is that why weren't they prepared, and why weren't other agencies brought in quicker?
Well, Trump warned them a week ahead of time. He said, I'm going to make the National Guard available because you're going to have thousands of people down here at the rally, and you don't know what's going to happen. And he urged them to have National Guard. And also the head of the Capitol Police requested National Guard. And Nancy Pelosi said, no, we don't need it. She denied it. She was the one that could okay it. Without her okay, they couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing was they said that the office of Brian Nesnick got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. That was on every single network. It never happened. And then they said he died as a result of that. He died of a stroke, and he had already had a stroke earlier in his life. And Biden, 2 days ago, was pushing the thing about, January 6th, they murdered 5 police officers. That's not true. He died from a stroke, and 4 other officers committed suicide a few months after the whole thing. You're
100% convinced that this was stacked deck against...
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
You know what? There's unanswered questions that need transparency. The thing is, you're not going to get it because you notice no other network picked up on this, and there's a reason behind it. They were all in cahoots, in agreement that they weren't. So this would obviously offend their agenda. And there's other questions that are very, very important to answer that haven't been. So we will continue to watch that, although I'm going to tell you now.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.